Hey, family, Scott Lewis. A few things you should think about with this upcoming vote. This whole series of maintaining the status quo. Um, there- there's a lot of truth and lies behind the concept of division. Yes, people do get passionate in who they choose to be their leader. And they're known to cut you off altogether for just having a difference of opinion, or for finding that third opinion. See, here's the thing right now: the way they've had it set it up for years, there's only two parties, right and left, right? Red, blue, Bloods, Crips, Republicans, and Democrats. And at any point, the last time that there was a third party that made it to the, I think it was to the my brain just slipped, that was able to, you know, be on TV the most and talk and debate. That's the word. Sorry, guys. To debate was Ross Perot. That was back in like the 80s and stuff. And right after that, a law went into place where it kind of protected the Democrats and the Republicans from having that chance of a third party coming in and crashing their fun. That's which is the reason why in our generation, my age and younger, we haven't seen a strong third party come through. And if they did try, they had to choose a side. Bernie Sanders was independent, socialist. He had to cling on to the Democratic side in order to even be allowed to debate. And even though he had more than enough votes to do things, to speak on it, the powers that be said no. I think Ross Perot was like independent or something like that. Right now we have a couple other parties that aren't Democrat or Republican. You have that Gary Johnson guy who kind of creeps me out a little bit. You have Jill Scott, who actually backs reparations. Now, I'm not a big fan of, anybody who knows me personally, I would love, my dream person would be a Barack Obama that actually did something for black people. You know, not just gay people or Hispanics. Shit, or women and white people, and white women, I should say. And Jesus Christ, he didn't do anything. I mean, he had swag, though. Anyway, so the important thing is, people, one, go make sure, I want you guys to go out when you get your ballots that have been sent in the mail, these sample ones, read it carefully. Look up the definition of things and don't just vote because you see a Democrat or a Republican. And that's what most people are doing, because honestly, if they were to take away that little insignia, the Republican and Democrat and all the names of of who they are supporting or who supports them, most people wouldn't even know who the hell they were voting for. And it's not just the president. You have tons of people all the way down the chain. You don't know who these judicial people are, who they're, these sitting judges and stuff. So it's very important. Read and find out who they are, what they've backed. Have they done anything for the black community, period? Have they done anything for black or brown people? If they haven't, then that should be a definite indication that you probably should let them go. Regardless about your personal feelings about, for example, Hillary, the Clinton Foundation itself, Clinton's itself means death, okay? They sent over 1 million black people to prison for 85% of these long 40, 50-year sentences. So they basically destroyed the black male leadership, which in turn, led the younger generation of boys to disrespect women, disrespect the mom, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Got a pizza. It left a lot of black women angry, upset that they had to do it on their own, and the little girls. Not having that father figure left them without the confidence they need to go up there and know how to tell a man no, know what they're worth, et cetera, et cetera. All of that sounds very small to people because they don't want to admit that we do have a psychological problem in the black community, and it was caused because of the war on crime, the war on drugs. And Clinton was the most recent one to do that with the 3 strikes you're out and mandatory minimums. If you continue on, you'll see that Clintons have pretty much own Haiti. They took the resources of gold, which the private contractor that mines all the gold is Hillary Rodden's Clinton's, older brother or younger brother, whatever, something Rodden. Forgot his name, doesn't matter. So they pretty much went in there and ransacked all of that. The money that was supposedly given to their foundation to help Haiti after the earthquake, along with the $500 million that went to the American Red Cross, squandered. Only 6 houses were built down there. You guys got to look at this. Hillary is not someone, and she calls a super predator. She calls someone like me. You see this handsome face? Look at this. A super predator. Really? I mean, there's obvious reason. I don't even have to talk about Trump. It's obvious. Trump is not, president material. I mean, he can't keep a hotel open unless a book. They made a joke about him saying, yeah, they read his book about economics and how to keep businesses growing and said it can't get past chapter 13. If you guys don't know what that joke means, because a lot of y'all didn't laugh at that last time I was around a lot of y'all, and y'all heard it and you're like, I don't get it. Chapter 13 is bankruptcy, because that's what he does. That's all he does. He can't keep a business running, nor does he care about the business running, because he can get the proceeds out of that and restart and keep continuing. So it's not really necessary to talk about that individual, because he's already paid for it. He's going to take a fall. It's just like paying a boxer to fall, take a fall. He is in on the joke, and we're all the idiots. All right, so he's not going to win. Okay, so the way I look at it is you have Hillary Clinton, who has this crazy amount of women, especially black women. Feminist, I get it, that you want a woman president. Look, hey, you want a woman president? Look, Jill Stein is the perfect woman president for the job. She actually believes in reparations for black people, which none of the candidates, including Bernie Sanders, was backing. She backs all of that, and a lot of her policies, all of her policies actually make actual sense. Like 1 + 1 = 2. Yeah, she's the only one that will come up with 2, as opposed to everybody else will come up with 3 or 7 or 9. And this is not bias; these are facts. It just takes that you guys have to go somewhere and actually read stuff instead of letting the television program your head into thinking that your choice actually matters in this case. Once you stop. If you don't vote outside of Democrat or Republican, then you're going into the program. That's the way it is. It's just supposed to bounce. It's the same type of person bouncing back and forth. It doesn't matter. So you have to either be able to write Bernie Sanders in or vote for Jill Stein or Gary, whatever his name is, or that one other guy who seems to have made the ballot. Use your head. Read. Bring up conversations. Have me go do research for you. I'll help. I just want people to be actually informed instead of swayed by opinion. And just because a person says something you like, a hot sauce in my bag swag, with her saying shit like that during interviews, that swayed some of you women. You wouldn't believe how many women I know are swayed simply because she said that. And not caring in the fact that they don't like black people at all. Okay, now I do understand that there are some Black Lives Matter people that are Republicans right now because, they kind of understand and they see what the hell happened and why that doesn't work out. And then there's some that are Democrats. Most of them are women. Most of them are gay, or bi, lesbian, transgender, whatever. That whole plus. A lot of them are Democrats, and they're voting for her solely because she's a woman and they want a woman president. And that's fine. I guess whatever. But they're still Jill Stein. And they can vote for her and they choose not to. Which is another reason why I don't necessarily back Black Lives Matter. I told you guys in an earlier video, it's because if you go to their website and listen to how their policies work and everything that they speak about, they leave the straight black man out of the picture altogether. The father being the head of the household, being the protector, et cetera, is completely left out, and they don't care. And they could give a damn. Every time they speak about a man is if he's transgendered. Well, if Black Lives Matter, shouldn't my lives matter as well? That's a whole nother story, a whole nother video. Also, if you're in the state of Florida, guys, look, let's work together. We can pay attention. There's this whole solar panel amendment. It's a very big deal because it's been worded kind of strangely. And so I've only read it twice, and one way I read it sounded like, hey, look, I'd vote yes. on one because I want to be able to control the solar panels myself. I want my own solar panels. At the same time, I read it a second time, and it said something along the lines of that is protecting people from not having to pay for the residual energy that's created that's put back. In other words, I think it felt like it was saying that the energy companies would no longer have to pay you as the consumer for giving them free electricity, for giving them electricity that you generate from your own personal devices, which will suck ass. And I'm not sure exactly. It's very worded very crazily. So if any fact checkers, if you got any people who want to help me out with that, please leave your information down below in the comments with your sources so that I can find out what's going on and be able to help other people in Florida if you are in Florida. Also, be careful about, I forgot a number of the amendment, but all in all, read some of this stuff very, very carefully because I believe, this is my personal opinion, our vote doesn't really matter on the grander scale because as far as I'm concerned, the establishment, the people that control our country, the bankers, the people with all the money have already chosen Hillary to be president, and that's that. However, we can control the things that are local to us, specifically electricity and some of the other things that are going on the ballot and stuff. So again, my name's Scott Lewis. You guys listen, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll be coming up with more videos like this. You can go to findblackbiz.com to see life hacks videos from from our team that just come up with all kinds of things regarding people of color, not necessarily political stuff, but things like hair tricks, makeup, etc., etc. We talk about a little bit about everything. You can find me on all social media on Find Black Biz. You can hit me up here. Let's use our heads, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I think it's a little bit past that time frame of just past the time to be moving based on our emotions. All right, and actually use logic. Okay, knowing that both of these candidates suck ass. They're not good for black people at all. And you to be willing to go down that same cycle and choose someone that doesn't like black people, two people that don't like black people anyway, it's absolutely foolish. All right. Like I tell you guys all the time, and I love seeing it. If you can do it only once a month, think, act, buy black. If you can only do it once a week, if you can do it once a week, that's great. Think, act, buy black. If you can do it every day, think, act, buy black. I love you guys.